Since the dawn of photography in the early 1800s, iconic figures and moments in history have been captured on film for posterity. From politicians, scientists, and writers, to Hollywood icons and sports stars, the camera was there to capture their presence in one solitary moment, frozen in time. But the camera hasn't just focused on the rich and famous. It was there during the most iconic moments in recent history to record and document the present for the people of the future. And here we are today, looking back on those historic moments of our past, recorded in black and white for us to reflect upon, in a time very different from the one when these photographs were taken. But now, in this golden age of technology, we can colorize and reanimate these moments, bringing them back from the past. With vibrant color and realistic motion, we can see these images from a completely fresh perspective, as if seeing them for the first time, and wonder how it must have felt to have lived in a time we will never get to experience. An era before our own that now lives on through photographs like the ones you're about to see. Welcome to Animata Historia, breathing life into historic photographs from around the world to remind us of how we used to live, where we came from, and what made us who we are today. In this episode, we are reanimating rare and iconic photographs from the past. The following selection of black and white photographs you are about to see have all been professionally colorized, then brought to life using AI software. Like this incredible image marking the first modern Olympic Games, a photograph that marks the dawn of global sport. Three men push through dust and exhaustion under the Greek sun, the rebirth of a tradition nearly 3,000 years old. The moment baseball changed forever, Jackie Robinson, the man who broke Major League Baseball's color barrier, stands ready at the plate. His courage and talent didn't just win games, they redefined what was possible in America. Before the sold-out stadiums and the legend of the home run king, here stands a young Babe Ruth, newly traded to the New York Yankees. He's still more ball player than myth, the swagger not yet hardened into folklore. Within a season, he'd change the game and the city forever. Fresh from lifting Brazil's first World Cup, Pelé returns home. Not yet 18, but already the face of world football. This image shows a young man who went on to become the greatest player to ever grace the field. A true sporting legend that will never be forgotten. Wilbur Wright steadies the glider, the test that proved flight could be controlled. A year later, it would lead to the first powered airplane. This photograph is the breath before aviation history finally took off. In his simple room in Maharashtra, Gandhi sits in silence, shaping a revolution through simplicity. This photograph became the symbol of self-reliance and resistance, proof that power can look like peace. Peering through a narrow doorway, Howard Carter sees what no one has seen in over 3,000 years. The untouched treasures of Tutankhamun. The beam of his lantern bridges ancient and modern worlds, and archaeology itself changes forever. Survivors crowd a lifeboat in the cold North Atlantic, only hours after watching the unsinkable Titanic disappear into the depths. The photograph captures more than relief. It's the fragile line between tragedy and endurance, the human face of a story that still echoes through time. Only 3 months after the Titanic tragedy, legendary performer Harry Houdini stands before an encapsulated audience, shackled but calm, about to step into a crate above the Hudson River. One still frame that turned a stage act into legend and publicity into power. Surrounded by the vast canvases of water lilies, Monet stands near the end of his life, painting through failing sight. The photograph feels almost like one of his own works, soft edges, deep calm, and the quiet persistence of genius. Picasso sits before his own abstractions, hands clasped, gaze steady. The world's most restless artist, caught in a rare, still moment. The face of modern art confronting what it created. A portrait of genius made human. A jazz legend stands before the Sphinx, horn raised to the desert sky. Louis Armstrong plays not for a crowd, but for Lucille, his wife, his constant audience. A president known for power, shown instead in tenderness, Roosevelt cradling his grandchild. The Rough Rider, conservationist and reformer, paused in quiet affection. Proof that even the fiercest spirits have gentler truths. "15 years after his book shook the world, Darwin sits for this portrait in quiet defiance of the storm he started. The man who redefined life itself. No longer the heretic, but the thinker who changed how humanity sees its own reflection. At the height of his influence, Freud sits composed and certain. The father of psychoanalysis, now a force across continents, captured in the years when his ideas ruled the conversation. A man staring back at the world he'd taught to look inward. Chalk in hand, a young Einstein stands before the world he's just rewritten. In this photograph, science meets wonder. The face of a man who bent time and space into something everyone could understand. On a quiet summer day, Einstein sits casually by the sea, deep in conversation, only a matter of weeks before the world collapses into war. Within a month, he'd co-sign a letter to President Roosevelt warning that Germany might build an atomic bomb. A rare and iconic portrait of Tesla in his prime, composed, sharp, and unearthly calm. The man who dreamed electricity into modern life, captured before ambition and isolation overtook him. Nearly a decade later, Tesla sits before the great coil, eyes lowered in thought. Surrounded by the machinery of his own invention, he looks less inventor than conduit, a man wired directly into the future. Edison studies a light bulb, the small glass heart of a century. The photograph distills invention to its essence: one man, one idea, and the spark that made the modern world possible. A young boy, transfixed by a glowing screen, the dawn of television. In 1948, TVs had just become available to the public, still rare, still magical, and symbolizing a brand new age of media. At 72nd Street and Broadway in New York, a horse-drawn fire engine races toward a blaze. Thundering through Manhattan streets, horsepower meets firepower, just years before motor engines took over. Early innovation in the face of danger. A fireman dons a primitive breathing mask. It's a haunting glimpse of courage at the edge of modern safety and technology. In a bold demonstration, inventor W. H. Murphy stands his ground as his partner fires point blank. This moment marks a breakthrough in protection, the birth of modern body armor. A man and his machine, inside a single rolling wheel, Purvs's Dynasphere was an audacious vision of future transport, a fleeting experiment that captured the boundless optimism of invention. Rising from the Thames in a haze of steel and steam, the skeletal towers of Tower Bridge mark a turning point in Victorian engineering, a blend of beauty, power, and precision. In the age of iron and steam, Louis Hine captured the perfect union of man and machine. The worker's strength mirrors the metal he commands, a symbol of the muscle behind modern progress. "11 ironworkers dangle over Manhattan during the construction of Rockefeller Center." This iconic image, still seen on posters and calendars today, became a symbol of American resilience and ambition during the Great Depression. Hundreds of feet above Manhattan, a window washer pauses mid-task. His grin and open arms capture both the peril and pride of a city reaching skyward. As for the health and safety regulations of the era, well, judging by photos like these, there simply weren't any. Like this ironworker bolting steel into place against the skyline of the Chrysler Building. Remarkably, he isn't even attached and could fall to his death with one mistake. It's a portrait of human courage in the age of steel and skyscrapers. Back on the ground, this photo reveals a different kind of courage. Mary Windsor stands outside the White House, her banner a quiet act of defiance. This image embodies the bravery that helped win women the right to vote. The Iron Horse thunders through the heart of the city, a symbol of progress and power. Today, trains run faster and quieter, but few inspire awe like this. Progress brought speed, but maybe it left behind a little wonder. A street vendor's trade, simple, human, and real. Now the hustle lives online, not on cobblestone corners. We've gained convenience, but lost the small connections that built a city's soul. Two figures stand still amid ice and steel, a frozen city reflecting itself. Then and now, the skyline defines ambition, but the quiet moments, they remind us what progress should preserve. Rare snapshots of old New York remind us of a time long since gone and encourage us to reflect on the transient nature of societal change and progress. A New York before cars seems like a lifetime ago. Imagine how it would feel living in a carless city today. Progress definitely comes at a cost. This rare photo shows one of the world's first gas stations, a new ritual for a new age. The hum of engines replaced the clatter of hooves. A century later, we're still chasing cleaner, faster ways forward, always trading one revolution for the next. The cost of modernity, captured in twisted steel. Early automobiles promised freedom, but they came with risk. Every leap forward has its shadow, and this was one of the first to show it. Originally built to sell real estate, the Hollywood land sign soon came to symbolize something far greater, the rise of cinema itself. By 1949, the word land was gone, and what remained became the most famous sign in the world. This rarely seen image shows two brave technicians, a cage and a microphone, capturing a roar that would echo through movie history. It was the sound that made the silver screen feel alive. At just 27, Charlie Chaplin was already one of the most famous faces on Earth. In a world before sound or color, his silent expression spoke to everyone, proof that emotion alone could make cinema universal. Two icons of resilience. One mastered silence, the other spoke through it. This photo reminds us that genius takes many forms, and empathy can bridge any world. Captured in the glow of early Hollywood glamour, Crawford stands as a symbol of cinema's transformation, when movies stopped being magic tricks and started shaping identity itself. The world's new ideal of beauty, elegant, understated, and human. In an age of glamour, Hepburn reminded us that kindness could be just as captivating as style. But before she became a global icon, she was simply Audrey, graceful even in the ordinary. Her charm wasn't crafted by fame, it was something the camera merely revealed. Two worlds of fame collide, one of elegance, the other of spectacle. The image became iconic, not for glamour alone, but for what it says about the gaze, envy, and performance in a golden age of illusion. But true fame comes at a cost. Here, in Richard Avedon's classic portrait of Marilyn Monroe, the mask slips. For a moment, the world's most famous woman looks utterly human. No longer the same Norma Jean Mortensen who spent much of her youth in foster homes and orphanages, sometimes not knowing where she'd sleep next. She was now a global icon, a poster girl adored the world over, for the character the industry had created, not the shy girl beneath. Poised and radiant, she was old Hollywood's last true queen. Taylor embodied a glamour that felt effortless, not manufactured. Her presence reminds us that beauty once carried mystery, something fame rarely allows anymore. A young Eastwood leans over his car, not yet the legend he'd become. This photo captures the American ideal of grit and self-reliance when Hollywood's icons were still craftsmen, both on-screen and off. A master of suspense captured in stark contrast. Hitchcock reshaped storytelling, proving that fear could be as psychological as it was visual. His legacy reminds us that film can manipulate not just what we see, but what we feel. Here, the master of suspense commands chaos with calm precision. It's a glimpse behind the illusion, a man turning everyday creatures into terror. Today's CGI may dazzle, but Hitchcock showed that tension, not technology, makes us afraid. But the lens of history hasn't just captured the frivolous world of entertainment. It was there in humanity's darkest hour, too. The power of photography is in its ability to mirror us, our behaviors, our atrocities, our pain. Photos of war will forever shock and repel us, but their role in informing future generations what really happened on this planet is a crucial one. They smile through the train window, unaware of what lies ahead. These faces, full of hope and duty, remind us how youth is always the first casualty of conflict, yesterday and still today. In the rubble of war, a small boy clutches his toy, the only thing left untouched. Photos like this remind us that behind every battle are lives, homes, and childhoods lost. War has changed, but its cost has not. A bright smile before the darkness of history. Anne Frank's image isn't just a portrait. It's a mirror of innocence destroyed by hatred. Her diary made her voice eternal, a lesson the world will never and must never forget. This photo is commonly mistaken as taking place in no man's land during the 1914 Christmas truce. It was actually taken in 1915 near Thessaloniki, Greece. British officers are seen playing other ranks of the British 26th Divisional Ammunition Train. Despite the mislabeling, it endures as a symbol of what truly happened that Christmas. A brief moment when humanity rose above the war. On the very day Hitler took his own life, a war correspondent bathes in the home of the man who started it all. It's a haunting image of victory and irony, a moment of calm amid the ruins of evil. Joy, relief, and disbelief all collide in this kiss that captured a nation's exhale. In one of the most iconic photographs ever taken, Alfred Eisenstadt captured the moment the war was finally over, and for a fleeting instant, the whole world felt light again. Captured in a single frame, courage, unity, and sacrifice. This moment became a symbol of victory, but also of loss, a reminder that even triumph carries the weight of war. Victory immortalized in smoke and ruin. The red flag over Berlin marked the war's brutal end, a symbol of triumph, but also a reminder of the staggering human cost of peace. Even in war, humor survives. These soldiers' chalked message, "Easter eggs for Hitler," shows resilience and defiance. It's a glimpse of humanity under fire, something timeless even amid destruction. Deep in thought before a press conference, Malcolm X embodied the intensity of a man reshaping the struggle for justice. His gaze reminds us that truth often begins with courage. Photographed during his "I Have a Dream" speech, this image endures as a symbol of courage, conviction, and the power of peaceful protest to change the course of history. Just after graduating from Harvard, this photo captures the calm before destiny. It's powerful not for what it shows, but for what it foreshadows: the rise of a leader who would inspire a nation with hope and vision before having his life cut tragically short. Captured between infamy and death, Oswald's cold stare embodies a moment when America's innocence was shattered. The photo still raises questions history can't fully answer. At just 21, his expression is eerily calm after his arrest for conspiring to kill President Lincoln. The photograph's stillness magnifies its power, a glimpse into the human face behind a nation's trauma. A man walks in silence, his sign speaking louder than words. Educated, skilled, and desperate, He represents millions left behind by economic collapse. This photo remains iconic because it captures not just one man's struggle, but the universal plea for dignity through work. Families on the move, chasing rain and work. This photograph remains a testament to endurance. Ordinary people facing extraordinary hardship with quiet courage. This particular shot was taken straight after Dorothea Lange's famous and haunting photo, which quickly became the face of the Great Depression. Like the better-known frame from the series, its power endures because it captures more than poverty. It captures endurance, dignity, and the quiet strength of survival. In California, once seen as a land of opportunity, thousands of Dust Bowl migrants instead found overcrowded camps, scarce work, and dreams tested by relentless hardship. Even in the heart of New York City, despair took root. These makeshift homes stood as symbols of inequality and of how fragile prosperity can be. Without photographs like this, many people today might not believe a Central Park looking so desperate and barren could have existed. A child walking through choking dust, eyes barely open, a moment that still warns us of what happens when the land, and those who live on it, are pushed past their limits. This America is one that time nearly forgot, but the camera and the history it captured did not. Exhaustion and resilience share the same frame. This image reminds us that behind every economic collapse are human faces, tired, hopeful, and unbroken. These were some of the most rare and iconic photographs of the past, colorized and reanimated in the present to bring us closer to the people and moments they portray. History is replete with both heroes and villains, but the camera doesn't care for sentiment. It records whatever it is shown and allows us a glimpse into the lives of those who came before us. And cliched or not, photographs really do mirror and reflect human behavior and experience. They show us a world which we recognize, the familiarity of daily life, the streets, the fashions, and most importantly, the people. But they also capture places which we never even knew existed and will never, ever see for ourselves.